I would have not guessed
LC,
that.
LC.
Combo?
Okay, that's good. So now you have your own pick-off potential as well between Bane, Skyrath, and LC. That's
and you got to play this pick-off style against IO Storm draft. Like that was, I think, what I touched on at the start. Is like you know they're going to be split up. They're not going to play as 5, so you don't have to pick crazy team fight necessarily. You want to be able to punish the fact they're split up, and you can go on the 2 heroes. And by the time an IO relocate comes in, Sky's Legion will kill that hero. So the relocate in doesn't save. The relocate plays are usually being used when you're on the aggressive. So.
Or Magnus as well with a Skyrath mage, not that desirable pick.
Yeah, if you're dueling Sky ulting, I don't think they live long enough for IO relocate to do anything. Yep. It's kind of sad. Yeah, I also like the fact that if we're worried about people getting picked off from TSpirit, if LC is ever just sitting behind someone, because that's something you can play. You don't always have to be on the aggressive. You can just sit behind like your carry and be like, okay, go bait.
I actually love this because something I like to see with LC because of her duality, it's really jarring to have to play both styles in the same hero, especially if you have to fulfill both roles. And it's something LC finds herself very often. She's bad because she has to do too many things. But with a Bane, you actually cover the pick-off to a degree with the Fiend script. You actually have other options, which allows LC to play differently depending on the team fight and adapt more.
So I like Slaughter and LC. You've got the Purge for the Corrosive Haze. It's still like Slaughter with Eye of obviously great lane.
That's the most collapsed lane.
Slaughter's cooldowns are way lower than the Legion commanders. I think the only sad thing about the Slaughter pick is that you don't see your carry matchup.
Yeah.
But they can just ban now to like remove the worst matchups, I think.
Yeah. I actually thought Spirit were going to 4th pick the Wraith King because Wraith King against what I see on PuckChamp is so good. Like you're not getting blown up by Legion Sky combo. It's all about this burst, and then Wraith King you have that second life, and then they have no spells left. So I would have preferred to see Wraith King than Slaughter, but Slaughter seems doable. I don't know.
Yeah, Yara is like so versatile in his carry. He'll play literally anything.
It's like they have last pick of the draft. They're like, no, you got to last pick your Taurus here. He's Mr. He'll play 20 different heroes at TI. So
this man can play anything. I mean, I don't even know. Maybe they'll just pick out something we've never seen before.
What
it
would
should definitely be a physical damage corner, right? Because they're playing with Slaughter, which makes sense. I think Templar Assassin would be very nice as a carry this game. She has a little bit of protection from Skyrath spells. She gives them the beautiful Roshan potential with Slaughter's Corrosive Haze. He buffs her up. They can run like fast with this IO Storm.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a good tempo as well with the team.
Ricky.
Don't say his name.
It's coming.
Don't summon him into existence. He would be really great against Bane, Quap, and Scarlet Mage. I think he suffers in lane though against LC. It's my only problem.
Probably, yeah.
As an Ancient Seal kind of like any sort of immediate stuns or silences can really screw over Ricky. I mean, obviously
That's
it's like it was like the old school Grimstroke partner. The Inkswell and Ricky's so good. You've got
that is
ridiculous.
I
mean, it's a huge stretch. You just mentioned like he's going to pull out something totally new. I was like, Rick, this is the Ricky.
I did think about Ricky, but I just feel like if I'm like looking into the future at this lane, Ricky is really nice because he has such high health regen.
Okay, so they're covering the LC.
Yeah, and what Skyrath and LC do in lane is that Sky will use his concussive shot, the big burst damage of magic and slow, and then LC's gonna run at you in the middle of a wave. She's gonna prog. She's gonna maybe skill her Q. I don't know. Some people don't do that nowadays, but they're gonna basically run at you and try and do as much damage at once. And I don't think Ricky likes that. Ricky likes to kind of take some chip damage and then just regen it back.
Yeah. That's true. The in and out style.
Exactly. It does. They do have though, like God said, like loads of kill potential with Inkswell, Ricky jump onto Skyrath Mage. Maybe not so much on LC.
Those are both in the pool, by the way. Now, if Slaughter wants to, I'm gonna cancel Slaughter.
When it comes, Dusa seems solid for PuckChamp.
I like Dusa here. Is he
just good lane? You're playing into the Slaughter.
10 seconds.
I just want to see scaling on PuckChamp. Yeah, for sure.
The Storm is going to be difficult to relocate as well. It's like it's much riskier just for the lane.
I mean, so many carries ban. Yeah, they are pretty limited. The Deuce is one that stands out that we've just seen time and time again be successful, and they'll go with it.
I like it. Nice call.
It's like, do you ever not like a Medusa pick? Like, not speaking to you, but just like in general, like I feel like you can't ever go wrong when you pick Medusa carry unless.
Yeah. You see, this is why God is from SEA. Like, know immediately when he says these things that he's from SEA.
We love Aldusa.
Well, I just think they need to choose now. Like, they need to either pick something that can scale into Medusa, or they need to pick something that goes faster than Medusa. Beat the tempo, beat their timing. That's when you want to look at something like TA. If they want to scale into Medusa, that's when you pick one of these 10,000 banned carry heroes that scale into Medusa and are out of the pool.
If this was C, you pick the Bristleback too.
What the heck?
Oh, yeah, actually, that's true.
That's been
Yeah.
a
That's
good C
the out
carry.
tempo Medusa. Yeah, it's true
Yeah.
with the IO as well. Genuinely.
Stealer stacks. This would be a sick Bristle game. It's physical damage to pair with Slaughter. It's actually a sick Bristle game.
Sven is.
That's another physical hero.
Okay.
Not traditionally a hero that does great against Medusa, but
a bit of
fine
a.
for lane, I suppose, and he's gonna farm really.
No, LC does pretty well against Sven for the most part. She trades evenly.
Yeah, like I don't think he's gonna have like a freest lane, but he's gonna be able to like retreat into jungle pretty easily as a hero that
Right.
can like farm the jungle. He's gonna farm ancients.
That's true. That's true.
Spirit just need to make sure that they're protecting him appropriately because PuckChamp do have like a lot of potential to invade the triangle, like a smoke with Quap, LC, Bane, Sky, easy pick off, kill anyone. I think. So.
I think a lot of this game comes down to how much this LC Skyreth can kind of snowball. Like, if they get fast Blink Dagger and LC and go around and get a bunch of kills, that's how PuckChamp, I think, need to play. They can't get into this maybe farming battle, like, even though they've got the Medusa. I don't want to see that. I think they need to be the ones setting the tempo bit with LC. At least creating space for Medusa by making a lot of plays. Like, with a Quap, any hero that gets dueled should be dying.
They can pull Medusa into their fights as well, like
Nice.
we've seen before.
Definitely for defending towers, too.
Yeah.
And I have to see, as our panel said, PuckChamp, this game for them is about the kills. That's why we brought two casters that we know are going to kill it in the cast. That's Cap and Fear.
Well, we're certainly going to try anyway. And PuckChamp on their side, they're going to be trying to get some serious kills with a combo that I haven't seen in a minute or two. Fear. It's the Sky Legion Commander duo. That's an old one right there.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in probably a couple months, honestly, but it is strong. Like, once they get that early Blink Dagger on the Legion, it sets up easy kills in the early game.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I always kind of worry about with the Legion Command. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Legion Commander fan in the world, but I hate it even more if it's off lane and we don't have some hefty damage behind it, right? This Legion Commander wants to be able to get duels and win them. And somebody's got to throw some damage around. That's why Sky was always such a classic pairing with them. Here they've got Sky, they've got Queen of Pain. I like this quite a bit. They also have a hard carry to be able to use press the attack on in the Medusa, a nice frontliner as well. I feel like PuckChamp crafted something pretty nice here. That's my thoughts on it anyway. What do you think, Fear?
I definitely like PuckChamp's draft a lot. It's also the duel synergizes super well with their carry, the Stone Gaze. So it starts like a chain stun. If you manage to get the Storm or the Sven, maybe the duel duration's not enough in their BK bead. But if they get Stone Gaze on top of it, I could easily see them bringing down Sven or Storm in every fight.
Yeah.
But there is an IO, so that is like... Quap is going to have to be on like backline duty, right? Trying to make sure she somehow disrupts the relocate save.
Yeah, so a lot of eyes are going to be on Mira and how he's able to play around this aggression, who he's going to be able to bail out, as, especially since it's even going to start off with a lane where IO Slardar, we talked about this last series, obviously, a very strong lane. In this situation, it is going to be matched up against a range carry, so not going to be nearly the same oppressive lane that you often see with IO Slardar, sadly.
Depends. I don't think Krilat's going to be sad about it. It's really not fun to play against IO Slardar if they're out of control as a melee hero. Oh, they got a big block here too, so they're going to have creep wave momentum as well on this bot lane.
And should be able to get a fast level 2. Put a little pressure on the IO, start burning through some of that regen. We've got our top lane, which is going to be a Grimstroke Sven lane up against that Legion Commander Sky, which looks like we already have, sticks on both of TSpirit to deal with the constant spam that's going to be coming from Astral.
I noticed TSpirit has a trend right now where they don't buy regen as their first items. The Slardar started with the Belt of Strength and a Quelling Blade and brought out the Tangos. And Yatoro started out with like the stick instead of a Tango, and they both brought them out. Just trying to get that little first wave, like damage advantage.
Right. That I feel like that's only really punished if you get into like some really bad bounty rune fight, or maybe some like the enemy starts with a tri-lane right away that surprises you or something. Otherwise, as long as your courier gets out to you, you should be able to still bring all the normal amount of regen to lane.
Yeah, on top lane, initiation here.
Malik trying to run the opposite direction to get out of that Inkswell. Whew, damn, that was a lot of damage. Miposhka cuts him down with a stroke of fate, and that is going to be first blood.
That was impressive. Those aren't easy to hit at all. He just like, when he has the bonus move speed from overwhelming odds, he still managed to get the stroke of fate on him.
Yeah.
A little bit of prediction there. Well played.
Yeah, certainly already TSpirit off to a very good start, being able to not only get the first blood, it looks like this Storm Spirit versus Queen of Pain matchup is starting off pretty okay for Toronto Tokyo. I'm never sure, like, there's some matchups now. I think I watched a Leshrac, which I thought was fine against Quap. The Shadow Strike, the new bit of regen, the heal that you get off of the higher levels of Shadow Strike, it allows this Quap to be so aggressive in some matchups now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this matchup last series too, right? The Quap seems to be a popular counterpick to the Storm in lane.
Toronto Tokyo not doing too shabby though. Top CS so far. Collapse, man, he really is. He's taking advantage of this IO. He's just rushing treads without going any regen himself, and he's gonna have it too. Like, he just needs 2 CS. He'll have treads with an IO. That, like, I said, yeah, okay, ranged heroes, so they're not going to be able to pressure this carry too much. But if you get an early set of upgraded boots, things start opening up for you.
Yeah, Medusa's a very slow hero, so if you get on top of her with these treads early, and there's no Bane sleep to interrupt, like, he's just gonna lock her down, right, with the attack speed bonus.
Yeah. So
but Dusa is good in lane, but like later on in the game, the big strength of Dusa versus Slardar is just the way that minus armor interacts with mana shield, right? So it's gonna break down a lot of that damage.
For TSpirit's side, we kind of started off talking about PuckChamp and what their lineup is able to do. What is sort of the point of TSpirit here?
So they didn't draft very much team fight, but they drafted into Slardar IO, which I think whenever you have those two heroes specifically, you're really thinking about playing side lanes. You're playing the pick-off game, right? Both heroes really excel at it. So I think their strategy is to try not in team fight into this Dusa as much as possible. Just get their Sven farmed, and then try to get pickoffs. And any pickoff in this game can turn into Roche or buildings, because they do have the Slardar for the Roshan. And pick on bottom lane, a little more harass here.
And it's twice now that Collapse has been able to get on top of the Medusa and deliver some damage and force out the first time around a Nightmare. And that was before the treads were complete. Now the boots are here. All of a sudden, a massive movement speed upgrade from going from no boots to now being able to have full out treads. So if they manage to pull this lane back, if things start getting really dicey for this Medusa, and she is not going to be ready to go jungle this early, so I'm beginning to get real concerned about this top lane. They're going to go in with, once again, the stun, Inkswell. Some damage to Malik. He's going to survive. In fact, if he gets a couple of hits on Miposhka, gives up on it, instead hits Yutoro instead. But they actually trade decently well there for PuckChamp. Oh, they actually do manage to get him. I was sorry. I was busy watching bottom lane. I was like, okay, Collapse is just trading some damage. This is going to be fine. But they managed to kill Yutoro. Big win for PuckChamp.
Yeah, on paper, I think PuckChamp should be winning top pretty hard. This Sven, and they are, right? Because they were aggressive quite a lot. But that's the problem with this Grimstroke 5. Every time you see this hero go into the safe lane, it doesn't harass. It's kind of like an all-in. You have to commit a lot. And most carries don't want to play that way. They just want to farm, right?
Yeah.
So they've been trading a lot of regen top, but it's been going in the favor of PuckChamp.
Yeah, I've never been the biggest fan of Grimstroke 5. It always feels so much better as a 4 when it comes to laning phase. Bottom lane, they just get run over by this Slardar. The Dusa is down, and bottom lane is now officially, I think, very, very lost.
Yeah, she's only level 4 now, so she can't even go jungle yet. No points in that split shot. No choice but to just lane it out. This is the kind of position you want to be in when you pick this Slaughter IO. Around the level 4 mark, you want to make the carry feel like he has no choices, right? You don't want to jungle at level 4, but you can't really lane very well either because of how strong this is. The wind laces up, Slaughter's even faster now. Dusa has to farm under tower or she's pretty much dead.
Yeah, and that leaves that bit of aggression, that bit of fear also means that the IO can leave lane at any time without having to worry about the Slardar whatsoever. So we already got some stacks going on in the jungle. And when he returns, look for another round of running at this Medusa.
Yeah, back to your point on the Grimstroke 5 and why you don't see it too often is... It's just... He tickles, right? The right clicks tickle. It's not like a Bane that can bully out an offlaner. There's really no harass there, and spells are hard to hit, and it also forces your carry to commit to any type of harassment, which means your carry's not CSing, right? And as an offlaner, you generally have a better toolkit, and you're itemizing to pressure, more so than carries who are itemizing to farm faster, right? So he just feels a little awkward playing in that, you know, defensive type of role when he wants to be aggressive.
Makes sense. Net worth-wise, they're actually doing pretty well on PuckChamp. As expected, the TSpirit is suffering to the Queen of Pain. Has had to buy, I think, a little bit of extra regen to be able to stay in lane, so she's about 300 net worth behind the Sven, being pressured by this Legion commander, who's currently second in net worth, and doesn't actually have the phase boots just yet, so you imagine. You get phase boots plus level 6. If you manage to get the Sky level 6, I mean, this is where the fun's going to start for PuckChamp and where a lot of their momentum has to come from.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious on what build he goes for after the phase boots. Probably just the blink. If he wanted to go armlet, I guess he would have already been building into it. And I agree with that. I think they need an early blink on him this game.
Alright, there's the Corrosive Haze for the Slardar. So Dusa still a bit of ways until we get to level 6. Again, as you said, just kind of like playing under tower constantly.
Probably will get an early point in that. Oh, looks like they're going for Grimstroke up here.
Yeah, managed to catch Maposhka. Maposhka just hoping to be able to land some damage there with the Inkswell, hoping for a neutral tonight, but Young G secures that last hit pretty well.
On bottom.
There it is. Get the damage in. Oh my goodness, that mana shield. They just ripped through that one so quickly. Young G is going to be able to respond, though. TPing down and collapse. He's stuck. Caught in a dead end. He's now dead. Can they chase after Mira? No. Blink just not going to be ready in time. Still, though, a really big win. That should have been a kill in the Deuce. Quap turns the tides.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing really good. The only thing I'd like to see right now from PuckChamp is this guy doesn't really need to be top right now. He should be collecting the mid-wave EXP because Quap has left the lane, right? I think the impact he has is very minimal top compared to the desperately needed levels for him to be able to kill people in these duels.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really just not much of a threat until he does have that. You can see Maposhka already is ahead of the game in that regard. Is camped out mid lane. Recovered some levels, now level 5 as a result.
Yeah, these guys are, you know, they're TI winners. They have a lot of experience. They don't leave any experience, like, left alone in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they realize lane experience is, like, the most important thing in the early game. Getting a kill like this is great, right? But, like, it needs to lead into something, right? It's not that much gold. 181 gold, dead for 20 seconds. But if it leads into pressuring a tower, it's great. As long as mid lane... Oh, sorry, Sven, what happened there?
I was just farming the hard camp, and they had a really, really deep ward.
Oh, they just walk up there, or did they end up smoking that? I didn't see that. Either way, it's a really good kill.
Yeah, I think they just walked up there, because technically this ward that they have on the left-hand side from TSpirit, it'll only see so far. It won't be able to cover that ramp, so I think they just kind of like walked up the ramp and led off with the concussive shot.
All right. A little bit of a tower trade there.
Side lane tower is getting traded away. And now you could see Toronto Tokyo setting up with Mira right now to off of this siege wagon push. See if they can maybe catch a hero out. The Medusa is probably not the hero that they want to go for, so they're going to smoke and rotate up to top instead. There, they might be able to find Young G, which would be a perfect kill. Chain back, pull back into the silence. The explosion goes off. The illusion rune was a nice thought by Young G to be able to get out of that gank, but the overlapping disables were too much.
You know what I was talking about Slaughter, how every Slaughter player builds differently? Dude, check out Collapse's build this game. Like, I swear, I see so many different, like, combination of items on this hero. He's got the Mask of Madness.
Mask of Madness. That's an interesting one. So, do you think he's going to break that apart for Echo Saber at some point in time, or he's just going to Mask of Madness straight BKB, it looks like? Or
Mask in the blink. Yeah, then... I don't know. He probably won't break it until, like, his third item.
Yeah.
But I think he'll just go blink. This just gives him insane damage if he's ever by himself, honestly. But even better if he's paired with Io.
Yeah. No, attack speed. It's going to be a little bonkers. Which means many a PuckChamp can never really be alone anywhere in the side lanes, which is kind of what you were talking about, right? Is the TSpirit needs to be able to play side lanes very dominantly and not play for those big mid-game 5-man team fights. Inkswell gonna go, instead of going for the Skywrath Mage, they see the Medusa's a little bit low and they straight up catch her out. Young G, in response, trying to look to avenge his carry, will kill the Io, and they're gonna be able to get the kill on the Maposhka Grimstroke as well. A dual win and 2 support kills, but it doesn't offset the fact that their carry net worth is stalling out just a bit.
Yeah, that's the difference of ideas too. This is like kind of a little bit of deja vu from last game where you see them bring 5 heroes mid from PuckChamp, but this Mask of Madness Slaughter is farming. A bit of a different idea to play Slaughter, right? Instead of getting the blink and feeling like you're on a timer to make something happen, he's just farming up a storm with this mask.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a big part of that, right, is I mean, you have the superior, at least at the Slardar, like, I think you feel really good against Medusa, right?
XD.
At some point, if you have a lot of farm, yeah.
Yeah.
It should be fine. But generally speaking, Medusa is one of the better heroes for Slaughter. But right now, I don't think Medusa's feeling good about anything.
That's true. Eventually, that Mana Shield will help to be able to cover over minus armor, but for now, it's looking a little rough. They're going to be able to pick up Manta here in the next 3 or 4 minutes. I have to say, Legion Commander dual talent is so insanely obnoxious. We're going to watch Astral die. I just thought about that. If you guys haven't experienced that extra dual range from a Legion Commander, God forbid it's a Legion 5 who has like an Ether Lens or something. It just you know, you get so used to a certain range of a spell, and all of a sudden it changes up on you, and it just changes the feel of the game.
I mean, that talent made Legion a bit more viable, because Legion was always like just out of blink range, right, to get that duel, but now it feels like you always get the duel off when you have that dagger. The question is, are you strong enough to like win the duel? And there's a double smoke here, meeting on bottom lane, both teams smoked.
Uh-oh. Very awkward, Malik. Not sure if he read it. Okay, they do manage to at least get the duel onto Maposhka, winning that one. A second duel win, but they are going to be able to respond in kind with a relocate in. They managed to get the silence onto the IO, but they didn't have any lockdown left. Oh, and here comes a God Strength. Glat just gets ripped apart by Yatoro. He doesn't have the levels. I mean, he's still got the level 1 mana shield, so any damage comes his way. All of his mana pool is just gone immediately. Astral's going to be chased down underneath the tier 2. I don't think Collapse wants to let him go. He'll leave it for Toronto Tokyo to complete the kill. 7-9 now with a 5,000 net worth lead for TSpirit. Things seem to be going the same direction as game 1.
Yeah, Medusa didn't get her Stone Gaze off before all her mana was drained, so it fell apart. It's like this game a little bit for PuckChamp. It's falling apart real fast. 6k advantage at 15 minutes is it's a lot. It's a lot of mental damage too, because you feel like you're supposed to be like even. You have the mid game hasn't even came around yet, but you're down 6k. The map is pretty much TSpirit's, and they have heroes like Storm, Io, Slardar that move across the map so quickly. Not a lineup you want to be behind against.
No, certainly not. Didn't they nerf Mana Shield at like level 1 and 2? I wasn't sure if that was post TI or pre TI, but I remember there was like a patch that did something like that, right?
I am not sure if like the level 1-2 Mana Shield. It used to be like a big value point, and you're saying it's not as much. I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but they are. We're about to see right now if it does anything.
Yeah, he does manage to get off the Stone Gaze this time around with the Fiend's Grip alongside. He needs to be able to get in front of the Storm Spirit, but he doesn't really want to keep moving forward because he knows there's more coming behind this attempt at his life collapse. Just closes in on him. He managed to kill Dusan. Might be able to get more. Nice pick up on the Storm Spirit, though. That's a good kill if they can get it. Unfortunately, don't get the duel, but Young G is there to be able to finish off the job with the overlapping silences on a Storm Spirit. Mira jumping himself away. Collapse continuing to hunt with this Mask of Madness is just a terror on the battlefield. Nobody wants to go against him. If you're on PuckChamp and you've already used some of your spells on other heroes, Collapse will carry through the rest of the fight.
A nice little DD pickup there for Sven, why not?
Right next to Roshan. Perfect opportunity with the Corrosive Haze. A very, very early Rosh. 17 minutes in. Malik trying to make a
Yeah,
trying to make a big play.
Yeah. He had no duel actually. Wonder if he would have clicked it if it was up. I was like, yeah, don't do that. DD God Strength Sven. Don't think you want to duel that guy.
Yeah, especially with Astral still on cooldown for his Mystic Flare, just about to come up. It's Rod of Atos is also almost done. That's been another trend for this last TI, right? Is a lot of supports that don't have to get boots. The biggest one obviously being Weaver. There's another dual kill as they get Maposhka up to 30 dual damage now for Malik.
It was also like offlaners don't have to buy boots either, right? It was just rushing Helm or Armlet. Seems that's died down a little bit, at least in this region.
Collapse. Running at them, but not blinking. Just kind of testing their resolve.
Yep, there's a halberd up on this Sven. Stusa's gonna find it even more difficult to enter these fights. Just a Manta. I mean, TSpirit is so efficient on the map. Like, they don't feel the need. Like, it's completely like night and day. Like watching this team versus like Na'Vi. Like, the way they play the map is like so methodical and smart. And as far as like efficiency-wise goes, like they don't want, even though they have Aegis, they're not gonna force anything, right? They're still gonna be farming. They're gonna wait for the opportunities to come up.
Yeah, I mean they still have another 3.5 minutes with this Aegis. And that's a threat, a constant threat. I'm actually never a big fan of when teams get that Aegis and then they immediately like use it in some way. I feel like sometimes just having the Aegis dissuades the enemy team from so many fights that it just kind of like naturally gets you map control. Whether it's like your carry being able to farm areas of the map that they wouldn't usually be able to, or the enemy team has to play scared of fights against you.
Yeah, the problem with the Aegis for a lot of teams is something might happen mid, so I'll hold my thought. Alright, nothing's gonna happen, so...
No.
A lot of teams, when they get the Aegis, they'll actually fall behind in net worth because they're so gung-ho about, like, making something happen, running at the enemy, that the enemy team just split pushes you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, you have this Aegis and you want to fight, so you kind of stop farming, right? And then you get out-farmed because you have this Aegis and you're running at the enemy, and they're dodging you naturally because you have the Aegis. And so you don't really gain a net worth advantage by getting the Aegis in a lot of games. And you don't go high ground with first Aegis. It's like really hard. Bane though, oh, a good sleep. Oh, really good sleep.
Does dodge what he can and allows the opening here for the Legion Commander to be able to get the call out onto the Io. They get the kill onto Mira and collapse a little bit low as well. The Medusa might just be able to get that kill. They will. The Fiend's Grip over on the side here. Yotoro's caught out. He's going to come back with no God Strength. I'm not sure if they've got enough to be able to bail him out. Maposhka's going to stick around, but immediately the nuke's swarming it, and TSpirit reads it. Okay, we can't save our Sven here. A massive win for PuckChamp. As I thought maybe they were just going to fall over like they did in game 1. But this time around, they punched TSpirit right back in the mouth, and they're going to be able to get some actual objectives for it, some real estate.
Structures are fortified.
Absolutely. Like, we've seen this Bane so popular, right? Making plays in every series he's been casting. But that sleep was clutch. If he just dies there immediately, I don't think that fight turns out the same at all, because they're just going to reset. But they have to commit more for that kill. And that sets up the duel on the IO. That's a perfect fight for PuckChamp. And 3k gold swing for them too, I think, there.
Yeah, I remember thinking going into TI, I thought Bane was going to be one of the big heroes of the tournament. And while it was picked up some, not nearly as much as I was hoping it was going to be. Oh, God, what was that? Toronto, Tokyo. Daring to go up into that high ground and walk straight into Malik's open arms like that. A free duel if I've ever seen one.
All right, we got ourselves a game here. Here I was thinking, like, wow, the map's going to shut off for them, but that just one play mid snowballed into another death on a core to a completely even game. And I actually put PuckChamp's draft ahead if the game is even. This Medusa with farm, #1 net worth, by the way. #1 net worth in the game. With Scotty and a duel behind her, Medusa is good versus Sven, right? It's good versus Slardar. This hero can carry this game.
What would you say the timing is? It Scotty, right? Scotty against some of these melee heroes?
I don't think there's going to be a timing in this game where once he gets a specific item, they're just going to start playing super aggressive. They're just going to play the map smart, and they're just going to walk around and wait for Roche, get map control, and maybe if they get Roche, that could be a timing to go high ground, but for now, just get your Scotty and just let them come into you again, because they will. Just play on your vision, I guess, is the best way to put it. Dusa can't get jumped this game. If she does, the Stone Gaze is like their biggest spell. They can't fight into it with Slardar and Sven.
TSpirit at this point are certainly experienced enough to recognize that they may have caused a bit of an error, and I think they're going to take a quick break until they have BKB on Slardar, and they reach that next timing. Maybe they want to wait for BKB on Sven as well. We'll just have to wait and see, but this Legion Commander is going to scale up. 70 damage, 70 dual damage right now, hitting for 219 damage a hit on average. They might just be able to get another win. That is going to be a dead IO. In fact, they need to be able to get Sven out of here. He immediately tries to book it, but the Rod of Atos stalls him up long enough for now Young G to get the follow-up disables. TSpirit does zip in, trying to stall out these heroes, and might just be enough. Young G blinking forward, Sonic Wave, and they got him. Yatoro dies again.
This game's looking a little rough for Spirit, because if you think about the BKBs, right, when they come out, it's not going to be like this item that makes them invincible, right? You still got the duel, you got the grip, you got the stone gaze. And if that's what they're waiting for, this is better, right? I don't think there's any item timing that they can get that's going to get them back in this game. It's going to be more about making plays like this on the side lanes, getting some ganks, clawing their way back into this game by pickoffs.
That's why they're just playing under the vision here in the high ground, probably waiting for somebody to come over. D-Ward potentially. Maybe they can catch Malik. Malik with the shard though. It's kind of hard to bring down. He's going to be going for back for a blade mail after that. What do you think about that? Instead of, you know, maybe go armlet, you can go BKB. There's some options there. Why do you think blade mail is his choice?
It's a lot of damage against Sven, but I think more than anything he needs... I look at his inventory, and he needs more survivability. I think a BKB would be better, because there's a lot of magic damage from like the Grimstroke and Storm that can kill him. The main problem I have with Legion Commanders is like, I'd say he kind of fell off a little bit. He's okay, but I imagine him dueling a Sven right now. And Sven has so much more HP than him and armor. So he's going to have a hard time surviving the duel. So whatever he makes to make him more survivable, I'm going to be a fan of.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the fact that you mentioned the armor on Sven, right? Because it's going to be good returning damage against Sven, but at the same time, Sven does have, if he gets off Warcry first, has so much armor that you're returning physical damage back onto a hero that has an immense amount of immense armor upgrade.
Yeah, Legion has the shard, so maybe they're going to play it a little differently in this. I don't know if this Legion can go in first, just because of how poor she is. But sitting behind the Dusa with the shard is also a very viable playstyle. And this Rosh is huge. It's really big. If Spirit want to give this away, this is where you get into territory of Medusa hitting your high ground. And I don't think Team Spirit, outside of the Storm Spirit, has the best high ground defense. They're pretty committal on their spells.
Pretty committal also means that having a second life on the enemy carry, it's pretty problematic. They are not going to be able to contest this Roshan, whether or not they know, or they just don't want to give it up.
Shard went to Quap, I think. Aegis to do so. Now, what is Spirit waiting for? How are they going to handle these pushes? Are they going to keep bottom pushed in, force them back, or are they going to take a fight in their base with buybacks? But right now, only Grimstroke and Slaughter have buyback. The rest of them have finished an item like BKB, now on Sven, and also on Storm.
3,000 net worth lead for PuckChamp, but you said earlier you favor their late game. Looks like Dota Plus does as well. 67% win probability for them. Team Spirit smoked up inside of their own triangle and are going to push through into their own jungle, but look at all the vision that is here for PuckChamp.
They're smoked though, so can they get the quad?
They are going to be able to get the co-op initiation, but saved by the Legion Commander for the time being. But oh no, the Inkswell, they managed to catch him on side of the Legion Commander. That means the co-op is not going to be able to blink away until perhaps it's too late. It'll collapse, just going to be able to run him down with the vision still there from the Corrosive Haze. Malik almost managing to catch Toronto Tokyo, but it wasn't good enough. And now, Krlat, he's going to be kind of in some trouble here as he can't quite man-fight this Sven with the Inkswell stuns coming in. This is a disaster. That's going to be life number one, and not a whole lot of backup, especially with Young G, who bought back, has already been scared away from this team fight. He can't seem to go back in. They're going to leave this Medusa entirely alone. Team Spirit found just the perfect initiation for themselves. They killed one of the big team fighters in the Quap, and then they saved the Medusa for last with that extra life. Very well played by Spirit.
Yeah, what made that happen was that ward that they planted right away. I think it was Maposhka from the smoke. Just put a ward on the high ground, and they just jumped the Quap immediately. They used all their spells, and because Dusa was not in the front, the positioning they took made it so Dusa came late to the fight, the Aegis carrier, and they were able to blow all their cooldowns, and the longer the fight went, the better it was for Team Spirit.
Yeah. It's a little disappointing in PuckChamp just because, I was leading into that fight saying there's 3 different wards all in that jungle area. There's a deep mid ward, there's one on that high ground as you first enter the jungle, and then they also had another ward that was way up by the lane there just on the high ground. There was 3 different areas they could have played for a potential smoke, but instead it's the Quap who gets caught in the one area they didn't have vision.
Yeah, so like from that perspective, right? When they went off the map, they should have went to their vision and had Medusa block the smoke. If Medusa was there with the Aegis to break the smoke, I guarantee you that fight goes differently.
Yeah.
But now they have no more Aegis.
Yep. Is there any rush if you're on Team Spirit to pick up the pace of this game? You just want a team fight? Do you want to see them try and force another team fight, or are you okay with them stalling a bit?
I think in general, like for Dota, like forcing anything is kind of bad. You want to look for an opening, right? So I think what they're doing right now is they're waiting for an opening. Like that ward on mid lane right there, if people show on it, there's a ward in the Radiant Jungle they place there too. There's another ward that they won that team fight. If they ever see heroes there, that'll create an opening. You see they're playing behind their vision, right? There's like a wall of vision here they're playing behind. And once they show on that, and they're happy with this too, because they know they're going to outfarm them, because they have such good vision here. They can only be in one spot. So running to the one area you don't have vision, as you kind of saw PuckChamp do, no matter how much of an advantage you have, you can lose that fight.
Right.
Yeah, so TSpirit is just going to look to play on their vision as much as possible. And once they show on this vision, then you'll see TSpirit make a move.
That's smart. It's just like very patient play from TSpirit, as you're right, especially with an IO as well, right? They're definitely going to be out farming PuckChamp in these situations. They're playing 2 different parts of the map as one, 3 in triangle, and then Sven and IO pushing out the bottom lane and farming some of this area. As you said, vision nearby, so if a smoke or something breaks, they'll be able to respond pretty quickly. As a result, still another 3 minutes for potential Roshan spawn timing.
Yeah, where have these Lincolns been, right? You
Yeah.
see Collapse has one, right? This item's so good. I think most notably we're talking about a recent game where we wish we saw more Lincoln Sphere. And
Yeah, the Razor
same type
Wind
of heroes,
Ranger.
right? Yeah, same. It's a dual grip, like,
Dire's top
it's a great
tower
item. They're just
is
gonna
under
throw it on
attack.
top of either Storm, maybe the Sven. It's gonna make them so much stronger.
Yeah, I mean, even Collapse himself, just holding on to the Lincolns for himself could be devastating, because, like, how do you stop a BKB Lincoln Slardar? You know, he puts Corrosive Haze and just pops Mask of Madness, starts running at you. I don't know. I don't know who stops that man. The smoke up from PuckChamp. They're on the a little bit awkward spot here, being on the low ground, but TSpirit are not willing to take this fight, backing up to the safety of their own triangle, their own high ground.
That just shows you exactly what they're looking for, by the way. Smoke popped, instead of being an instant jump and try to be a killer, they realize they don't want to jump Dusa, right? They see Dusa.
Yeah.
If that was any hero but Dusa, I'm sure they would go, but it's like, oh, Dusa, and they all immediately backed out instead of jumping the gun there. So they want to take these fights away from the Medusa, because they realize with the Legion behind the Medusa, with this butterfly, she is not the target.
Right.
Oh, there's an Ags on the Storm Spirit, actually. Ags, this is a classic. I remember EG was running this a lot with Ovid and Arteezy, right? The Sven plus Storm combo. It is devastating if they come in a little bit later to the fights.
Yeah, and they've got Inkswell to be able to chain that as well. So you pull them together, Inkswell explodes, then get the Storm Hammer. That's like a ravage
dead
plus,
already, yeah.
vacuum. Yeah.
Only Dusa might be able to last for that Inkswell stun. Normally the pool plus Sven, everything's dead but Dusa, I think.
Yeah. So now, like, PuckChamp got to be so careful with their positioning. They got to be very disciplined, and that's that may be tough for a very young crew like PuckChamp, but they've certainly shown that they've had the skill to be able to pull off moves like this in the past. They've done so even in this game. They just got to be able to keep it up here. You can see the Dusa leading the charge as the rest of the team smokes behind. Where do they go? How far do they go with this? Do they dare to step foot into the triangle? I feel like that's a little scary.
They're just praying that they jump on their Dusa.
Yeah.
And TSpirit's like, nah, we're good. And so they're just kind of like waiting around aimlessly and getting out-farmed a little bit. But it seems they just desperately want this Dusa to get jumped. And I don't think that's going to happen unless Legion is either showing somewhere off on the map or dead. Because they're going to rely on this Bloodthorn coming out soon to break through the evasion of the Medusa. Until that, I don't think there's any scenario in which they will jump this Medusa, unless she is alone. But PuckChamp realized they can't move their Dusa side. Here comes the ward, and then maybe the initiation. Just a sentry, okay. So they know there's smoke there. He decided to opt for the sentry first instead of the ward. Not sure if that's the right choice. Normally you want to drop the ward first if you're smoked like that and you want to jump. Probably could have got the Legion. But instead, they were just peeking at like, oh, do they have vision here? They realize they do have vision, so they fall back.
Instead, they get a little bit more of a conservative ward right next to the Roshan pit entrance, which we are going to be fighting for in 50 seconds. So not expecting anything to happen until then, unless somebody sees an opportunity for a big smoke incursion. Gem pickup from Aposhka. I always love a good gem in these situations where you know both teams are just fighting for the right initiation, and that is all predicated on being able to have the right wards down, or countering the right wards.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't seen any gems today, but whenever you're on these like standoff type of situations, the team with the gem just sweeps across the map and always has a bit of an advantage. Because you know for sure that you're not under vision, or sometimes sentries don't really give you the reassurance, right? That a gem will.
Yeah, I mean it's like in a way being able to constantly make smoke movements, just because you know for sure the enemy doesn't see you. Double damage on the ground. They're gonna pass over the bottle and pick it up for Yatoro. So now, when Roshan spawns, which is right now, when they see that, they know they've got a huge window of time to be able to use this DD, whether to sneak the Roshan themselves, to be able to force a fight around this big upgrade. There's a lot of options here for Spirit.
That was PuckChamp's third smoke, just hanging around the mid lane, by the way. I wonder if they have any more after that. No, they're out. Like, Roche is up. They're gonna have a standoff. There's a couple cool things you can do in this scenario. Most of it doesn't require a smoke. Naposhka doesn't have one, it looks like. Yeah, I don't see any smoke. So both teams without a smoke, it looks like. Which is going to make this Roche posturing very awkward. Or they're going to do this and they're just going to, do the envy Roche.
Just commit right away with Corrosive Haze, and Roshan dies so fast. That's going to be Ags, Cheese, and Aegis. PuckChamp all falls right underneath their nose and snatched away by TSpirit.
They might want to reset a little bit. Wait for God's Strength again. Go again. Wouldn't be surprised. This is a window as well for PuckChamp.
Yeah, they've got tier 4 items to farm, which is what PuckChamp was doing, which is maybe part of the reason TSpirit went for that opening. They went right as 37 minutes hit, and PuckChamp was busy farming an Ancient stack to be able to get their tier 4s right away.
Yeah, I mean, PuckChamp also had no vision of the Roche pit, right?
Yeah.
So they were able to just walk into a smoke duel, Poshka down, probably a abandoned ship here for TSpirit.
No rush, plenty of time to be making use of this Aegis. Meanwhile, Malik, up to 120 dual damage now, is going to be going back for Heaven's Halberd, try and deal with this Finn a bit better.
XD. You blew it!
So they put the Aegis on Storm again. To me, that indicates they don't want to go high ground with this Aegis. Because if you ever want to hit buildings, I think your carry, or whoever's hitting the building, needs to have the Aegis, right? And I don't think Storm will ever hit a building. So they're planning on taking this game late. They want to get more of a net worth lead and just play the map and play for the team fights, right?
Yeah. I think that, I mean, that's probably fair, right? Against Medusa with Scotty, Legion Sky, like, it feels like there's a Bane, even really good amount of high ground defense for TSpirit, so they probably read that as a bit of suicide in a match that has been very close. They're up 13,000 net worth now, but it feels like the win condition is pretty open for both sides.
Yeah, I think going high ground is like one of the riskiest things you can do for your game when all 5 heroes are alive. So I think they've had enough experience, to say the least, to realize when their win condition is to go high ground. And they decided, we've probably lost too many games trying to force the high ground. I'm sure you've played a lot of pubs too, where some guy grabs an Aegis and just tells your team, go high ground, and you're playing versus 5 heroes that have great high ground defense. You just throw the game. And you're like, oh, cool. That wasn't a great idea, now was it?
Yeah, one too many a game. So I just heard Quincy Cruz, Quinn's line XD. Or on pauses coming in. I was curious. Do you have any fan packs that you any lines that you're a big fan of that have recently been put out?
I honestly have not done a lot of like research on like the new lines, so I'm gonna have to go take a look.
Dire's
think,
bottom
Quinn's is pretty good though. The XT, it's really
Yeah,
good for NA Dota.
XD, very good, very good. I will say, alliances, you know, they just went with Bulldog lines, but they're good. They're good Bulldog lines. They fit very well.
Oh, you didn't like the S4 one from last season? Do you remember the $1 million dream coil?
I was just like, I guess that's a line you chose. Go for it. Much better. Just stick with Bulldog, doing Bulldog things.
Stick with the
I'm sure
memers.
that'll-
Mass TP on the
Yeah.
top lane. Looks like they want to fight here.
They're gonna be able to get the duel instantly onto Mira, and Yutoro. It's like he didn't even notice the Io was gone. He just kept running forward. He said, "See you later, bud. You could join us in a minute's time." So PuckChamp continuing to keep TeamSpirit from being able to really utilize this Aegis very well as the pickoffs continue to go the way of PuckChamp's side.
This game is very tense. You can tell both teams the way they're moving on the map. Does Dusa have the shard yet? No, okay. Not a big deal, but both teams are like moving on the map together a lot. It's like a game of chess where you get to like these mid-late game scenarios where your vision is so important. Everyone wants to play around it. You respect the other part of the map. And I think that's mainly because every team ran out of smokes, right? You don't really want to run to an area that the other team has vision if you don't have a smoke. So because all the smokes were blown, I don't remember what Spirit used all their smokes for, but it doesn't seem they have anymore. But I know PuckChamp used all their smokes in the mid game. That yielded to nothing, so it's turning into a bit of a turtle fest. Just what happens when you don't have this item.
Yeah. There's definitely one or two smokes from TeamSpirit around that Roshan timing as well, but
radiant structures are
I'm looking at some of these support potential future items. For example, Grimstroke, Aghanim Scepter. Do you feel that one? He's got 3,000 gold in the bank right now, so he could get something big. What do you want to see?
Oh, I want to see the Ags for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Medusa's one of the best targets to make a copy of. It does more damage than Dusa. For some reason, it does 150% damage.
Yeah.
And when you're a hero like Dusa that has like a passive as well, split shot. Luna's the other big one, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge item.
Ducalis, he's got 2,000 gold in his bank. He's also looking at an Aghanim Scepter, which has been a favorite, I think, of late of a lot of people. The prevalence of Bane, but also just pretty game-changing Ags, I would say, for a lot of situations. Just because you're not expecting Fiend's Grip to ever last that long, but with the Aghanim Scepter, you can actually use it somewhat reliably.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a game changer.
Look at these guys, just camped out in bottom lane. They've got themselves a ward on the high ground. The right-hand side of the map is just Legion Commander Sky, patiently waiting, seeing if anybody from TeamSpirit is going to try and be a little bit greedy and push out. But TeamSpirit's been very disciplined, playing around each other constantly, moving, sweeping across the map as a unit. And they have not been able to use this Aegis. It's going to time out here in 5 seconds. Even as they try and make the jump now, it's only going to be with one life on the spin. They managed to get the pick off immediately on Ducalis, but he buys back. And now they're going to try and catch these heroes if they can. Shadow Strike blocked by the Lincolns. Mira jumps over with the tether, but he's already been dueled up, so he's going to be pulled back in. Another duel win. Sonic Wave goes out. Grimstroke going down, but at the same time, the jump in from the Storm Spirit plus Collapse following that up. They do manage to get some of these backline heroes, and now the Medusa's out of mana and just going to get burnt away. TeamSpirit. I thought with heroes dropping like that, they were just going to give up on the team fight, but they turn on a dime, finding their initiation.
Radiant's top tower is under
Yeah, the Grimstroke locked down the Quap through BKB. She couldn't blink out with Sven just hitting on her. It's a little too much of a chase there from PuckChamp. They got the IO kill. They have to imagine how static this game has been, that IO probably has buyback, right? They committed their spells. Dusa committed her Stone Gaze as well. Difference between like an experienced team and a team that's still learning in my eyes is like knowing when to call a team fight. I think with that Stone Gaze down and Duel down, and then all they got an IO. Be happy with it, reset, and wait for your spells.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I think buybacks are like the biggest ruiner of an underdog team being able to claim a lead and then it getting thrown away just because they're not expecting what I feels like a more experienced move. And TeamSpirit are now going to be able to get tier 3 and melee barracks, get the range on their way out with 24 seconds still left on the Medusa. They can reset and just patiently wait. Now Butterfly on the Sven too with a swift blink. He is a speedy man.
It's a lot of agility.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dusa decided to not go for the MKB, went for the Daedalus instead, so the evasion is gonna pay out pretty big for him here.
Yeah, this is going to result in a very awkward timing in the matchup against this Sven. I feel like you're going to be losing a lot of those 1v1s now.
Radiant are scanning.
They still
Blinking.
have hope of winning fights. It's just they need to get the Stone Gaze to connect on Sven in the fight. Like, it has to happen.
In order to do that, they may just need a good Fiend's Grip on the Sven, but in order to prevent a save from the IO, it means they also need to be able to get a duel onto the IO. And just so many things that have to happen if you're PuckChamp. TeamSpirit, play a little bit more loose. Run-it heroes, throw minus armor at them, do damage.
Yep. I think getting on top of this IO that has no buyback is the best thing they can do. Maybe save the grip for Sven. I'm not sure how diligent Collapse has been on putting the Lincolns on Sven. I assume he's been doing a good job of it, so it might be a little hard for the Bane to get that. But they do... It just adds like that extra, complexity to the game that you have to think about as a player whenever you have these Lotus or Lincolns in the game and you're playing, this Bane hero.
I'm not sure if you mentioned it. I just noticed refresher on Storm Spirit, so we're gonna have the double mobile RP from him.
No, it's great. It gives him great mana regen too, something the hero really enjoys. I don't mind it. You can see Toronto Tokyo TP bottom, and he's just sweeping the map with this region to make sure nobody's hiding over here.
Yeah. Check and make sure that everybody from PuckChamp is indeed sitting in their base waiting.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
But they're actually not. Youngji is pushing out, so he may just stumble into this if Toronto Tokyo is patient enough.
Oh, Quap has a Lincolns, but the interaction between Ag Storm is... It no longer gets blocked by Lincolns because it's an AoE. So they're able to jump him. And they will.
They're going to be able to grab him here. They're going to be able to refresher, do it again with the relocate coming in. Now the physical damage is there. A nice setup there from Toronto Tokyo. Just kind of read him like a book. Honestly, he like before I think Youngji even decided to go bottom, Toronto Tokyo was already there saying, you're going to. You're going to try and be efficient and get a little bit of extra farm, push out a side lane, and that's what I'm going to get you.
Yeah, it was really good. He could have pushed the lane in, but he really... Oh, there's a duel on Slardar, but...
Oh, that is a duel. That is not quite going to be one because Mira, with the big heals coming out, gets collapsed all the way back to full HP. They're going to chase after Quillette and Yutoro. He's swapping in the refresher shard right now. They can go ahead and pop another round of BKB and go for the God Strength to be able to bring down the Medusa. That's just the game. That's it right there. Nothing left for PuckChamp. TeamSpirit. It was actually kind of an even game, but then TeamSpirit, they just, one or two team fights, they were just so much better at being able to get the read on it, and yeah, that's kind of what you expect from the TI winners. TeamSpirit's showing that they haven't really skipped a beat whatsoever, looking absolutely fantastic. PuckChamp, we haven't seen everybody match up against TeamSpirit, or even the majority of teams, but I imagine this is going to be one of the better fights that one of the Eastern European teams is going to be able to take to TeamSpirit. The second game was very respectable by them, I would say, Fear.
Yeah, they went 0-2 this series, but they weren't stomps by any means. They were close games. They were fighting the whole time, and they were even in position in this last game to win the game. But TeamSpirit kept the resolve, even though they had 2 really bad fights in a row, and then ended up losing Roche. They lost their Storm twice. They lost to Sven. Networth was in the advantage of PuckChamp. They were able to play calm, play cool, play around their vision, and just took the team fights and showed veteran experience, really.
All right. Well, that actually closes out the day, but we do have the panel that we're going to get our interviews, maybe talk about some MVPs or something like that. But for me and Fear, we are done. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Fear, for joining me for the cast, and we'll see you guys after the break.